What is up? Yo, what's up, everyone? Getting started here, and yeah, let's talk about tone, dude. Is it sounding good, guys? I like this expression pedal for my delay mix. I could dry it out like this. Try that again. All right. Cool. Let's see. Starting to get some stuff going on. The chat is rolling. I love it. Man, so let's all just jump in here, man. I wanted to just get online while I had a little bit of time here and hang out with you guys. Talk about some tone, man. Yeah, the chat's rolling, dude. I love it. I'm getting ready to get another bigger monitor so I can see the mega chat. Let's take a look at who all's in here and see what we got going on. Landon Jordan, for those that don't know, follow Landon. He is a monster, just incredible guitar player. Kelly Bryan, what's up? Oh, man. John Claudio, thanks for the love on the tone, dude. It's sounding pretty good, right? So, Vanguard says Latinos for Trump. Wow. How much influence has the pick use on the tone? Man, when you're plugged in, I don't want to say it doesn't. It does. But it's not as drastic as playing acoustic. Thanks for the love on the tone. This is the Bella. I am using a Universal Audio aux for the cabinet emulation direct into Logic. And then let's see, I've got some questions. Hello, Brazil. Are you using prototype distortion? I am. And gosh, it rules, dude. This is just the left side of the prototype. It's really got that throaty thing, you know. Nice and liquidy. Yeah, so if I kick on the other side. Sorry, I said if I kick on the other side. Brian's into that thing, which is cool. Yeah. Why not? Okay, it's a great question. It looks like Erdem. I'm not pronouncing that correct. There's no way that that's right. Erdem Karaman says, why 9 to 42 instead of 10 to 46? He's talking about string gauge, the strings that you like. For me, I really like on Fender scale length. I like 9s. I like the tone. I like the snappiness. Now on my PRS or Gibson, or maybe even that Collings 335, I like 10s, and maybe even 11s. I like the snappiness on the low strings. I like that bite. And when you're in like a single coil kind of thing, it's a little snappy. So anyways, let me tune up while I check out some more questions. How's everybody doing today, man? Everybody doing good? Surviving? Making it through? Just trying to get sorry for the lull. I just want to get this thing in tune a little bit, This has been fun, guys. I like streaming. I didn't think this would be something I'd be into, All right, so good to be here. Crispy high fives to everyone. John McKinney, my man, picking up on my lingo. Honk if you love country music. Ron Fry, is it Fry or Phrase jumping in? I love that. Love to see that. I do. Hoping to meet me in July, but I guess it's not going to happen. I know. This is to George. We had a beautiful, beautiful clinic, gig, week-long excursion set for Corfu, Greece, and I was so freaking excited. It was Nick Johnston and myself. Nick was going to be there the week before me, and then I think there was going to be an overlap. And then I was going to do it, and I was so freaking stoked to do it. But it looks like it's postponed. It's not canceled indefinitely. It looks like we are going to do it. If nothing else, we'll do it in 21, We'll roll like that. Is Brian Wampler going to make this? Yeah, he made the one that I'm playing through, and he even posted a picture of it the other day, which is cool. For those that don't know, Brian and I have been friends for many, many years, and I use Brian's pedals. I met Brian because I was a customer. I never, you probably hear me say this a lot, I never go out like seeking and chasing endorsements to, for validation, right? That's not why you do it. And I ended up becoming good friends with Brian over the course of just enjoying the product that he made. I had the green one. I think it was called the Euphoria. I thought that was really cool. And I've had God knows how many Pinnacles. Every version of the Pinnacle that Brian has made, I have. And I always get caught up. I have several of the same ones, and then you can get caught up in chasing, oh, man, does this one sound just 2% better than this one? And, oh, does this one sound, So I really fell in love with Brian's overdrives and his distortions and stuff. And so obviously the C word, the C virus happened, and manufacturing slowed down, obviously. It had to. So this pedal is happening. Brian posted a picture the other day and even acknowledged that manufacturing was slow. But, he's my dude, and I love that guy. And they've had a tough year, man, losing Alex, one of the guys that was a big part of the Wampler community and family. He lost his life this year, and it's been tough. Been tough in the Wampler camp. So we're trying to get things back in order and look at how this can come to fruition. And I don't really know anymore what I can say and what I can't. It's not a secret that this pedal is a thing. How am I getting the EJ tone? It's not really an EJ tone, but it can do it. Check it out. If I roll so it's in the right now on the prototype it just says mids, but it's more of a voicing. So this is like the brighter kind of voicing. That's what I've been playing on, right? If I dump those mids out, check this out. So outside of a flub note or two, it can really get you into EJ territory. And it's not it's not tons of gain on there to get it to do it. But yeah, this is a super cool overdrive. And when you got it EJ'd out like that, let me go back to it. I'm gonna step on the kind of the clon kind of circuit. Really get you in that territory. Oh, sorry, man. I suck today. So you can tell that it's the same pedal, but it's doing this. And that's just from changing the knobs around. So yeah, it's really cool pedal. Like I said, that's just the left side of the overdrive. So yeah, that's where we stand on that. Any questions on that? It's cool. Then we got the string question. Let me get back down. The chat moves at a different speed because there's 15 seconds or so of latency. So I'm always trying to catch up with you guys in the chat. Greetings, Dover. Good to see you. Hello, Austin, Texas. Yeah, a little Austin there for you. Let's see. Sliding down. Oh my gosh, the chat keeps jumping. You guys are rolling deep. I love it. What circumstances make me turn on the Axe-Fx 3 instead of the Bella? Craig here, my man Craig says, started selling amps after I got the Axe-Fx 3. Still have it in the closet. Man, at the end of the day, it just depends on how I feel. I have a lot of really, really cool amps, and sometimes I like to turn them up and let them rip. And sometimes the nature of effects really make my choice. If you caught this week's Woodshed, there was a Danny Elfman thing, and I had the tone like super separated with a left and right and this enhanced kind of thing. And then I had a delay on one side that was doing, a certain time. A delay on the other side with the stereo doing another time, and I ended up choosing to go with the Axe-Fx because it's just got more effects horsepower than my pedal board does. Right? I was using a pitch shifter like in that old school EVH unlawful carnal knowledge kind of way. I think if I'm not mistaken, the way my setup is, I can just plug in. Hang on. So that what you've been hearing previously today was the Bella. Let's jump over to the Axe-Fx. You guys have to let me know if you can hear the Axe-Fx. I think you can. Oh, that slides everything up and down. All right, coming back to you. Give me just a second. And this is the Axe-Fx. And that super soaked out Friedman tone that I was using that was from the woodshed. Did levels jump? Are we okay? Yeah, so we're still on the Axe-Fx question. So that's that kind of old school Eddie tone. I don't remember the harmonics to pound. Time. There we go, a little crispier. So yeah, the Axe-Fx just has a ton of effects horsepower. I could go through my Axe-Fx settings if you guys like, if that's something that you're into. I'm going to check the chat. You guys let me know if you want me to sit here and cycle through some presets on the Axe-Fx so you can kind of hear how I've got it set up. Yeah, man, I like to stream. So I say, I like it when you stream. Yeah. Sounds better than Eric's current tone. Wow, no way. That's, jeez. Eric's been killing it, man. So we got which reverb? There's actually no reverb on the previous tone from the Bella. The signal chain to the board previously, when you guys chimed in on the stream, was the Bella into my pedal, or my guitar into my pedal board into my Bella. And into the aux. Currently, I am plugged into the Axe-Fx. Robert Garcia says, "Where's my green, sir?" Oh, it's in this gig bag right here. Yeah, so it's okay. Can the pedal store presets? I'm assuming you're talking about the Wampler prototype pedal. Can it store presets and recall them, or do I have to play with them knobs you go? Okay, so as far as recalling presets on the knobs, I don't like that for a pedal. I like to reach down and adjust based on the room that I'm playing, or the song, or whatever my scenario is. So it is not a situation where my Wampler prototype will have a programmable EQ. I'm not into that for pedals. I really, really like it for Axe-Fx. Let's see. Love the tone. Listening to you, man. Love the fact that you're listening, man. Love you guys. Okay. Ron here says, Andy, I've got a Dumble Ultraphonic for sale. Know anyone? New to Dallas. Want to get the Axe. I'm not the kind of guy that knows much about selling that kind of gear. Some of my buddies are, guys like Josh and Joe and those guys. But Songbirds in Chattanooga might be your Ron, if you're still here. Songbirds in Chattanooga for selling that Dumble. That they'll get it done for you. What kind of pick am I using? So I use a blue chip. Right? This is the blue chip. And then I also use these little Dunlop Black Ice. Okay, the Dunlops I can get in massive orders, massive quantity. I can get them in just big chunks. The blue chips are a little harder to come by. I love the blue chips, though. If I could have a tray full of blue chips, that's what it'd be. Cheers on the thanks and the props to the Elfman woodshed. Yeah. Cheers on you. It says I'm the Swiss Army knife of Guitar Master. I don't know if that's true. Incredible to achieve such different tones using the same guitar and just switching the rest of the gear. Okay, Francisco, let me plug back in to my pedal board. Okay. This is for my man, Francisco Ochoteco. I am butchering that. I know I am. Dude, I know I am. So Francisco says, it says it's incredible to achieve such different tones using the same guitar and just switching around gear on the outside. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's dry out the signal a little bit. This is my fundamental tone. There's even with the heel down on the Strymon, there's still just a little bit of delay there, right? I like a little ambience, so now if I want more or less, I can roll that up till I'm comfy. I'm in a super dry studio, so I like a little more sauce. That feels good. Kind of demo and talk about tone. The next thing I do is I use my compressor kind of as a boost, right? So that's kind of like my working level, my working gain level structure. For me, flexibility in the guitar is kind of everything, right? I'm going to scoot back just a touch so you guys can see what's going on. My guitar, this was a prototype, and this was the first built 24 fret telly. I know I'm not supposed to say telly, but whatever, 24 fret T-style guitar that Sir ever built. This was before the modern T was in the line or anything. This was the OG. And the back was fabricated because of the heel joint. I wanted a heel joint on a Telecaster style guitar that I didn't hit my hand on. Yeah, you guys ever play tellies? You always kind of knocking your hand on that back heel joint. It's not comfy. It's less about having high E. It's more about having that. And so at the time, I was doing a lot of gigs in the rock scene. I was playing with, Scott Stapp after the Creed and Stapp and Alter Bridge thing split up. I was the guitar player that Scott reached out to. And so we toured for about a year. And humbuckers, obviously, for that gig. And so I wanted a lot of flexibility. I was doing my second instrumental record, which is the Truth and Lie record. And I wanted a lot of flexibility in the guitar and its tones, right? So that's like faux stratty, the inside coils of the humbucker. And if you listen in Truth and Lie, there's a clean guitar playing. And that's how I did it, right? Get on that kind of faux stratty thing. Also, humbucker in the back positions just kind of is what it is, you know. And then one of the cool things that we had besides just neck humbucker, right? So besides just the neck humbucker, I thought it'd be really cool to have the neckmost coil, so kind of Hendrixy. I was a big fan of that Dan Huffism. And I wanted that kind of flexibility in the 5-way, right? So from there, and to mention swamp ash and maple, right? Just kind of like industry standard, which is what I like. And in the back position, I had them do a push-pull, which is series parallel for the bridge humbucker. That's regular. Here comes the push-pull. And it's really nice with overdrives. Turn that one down just a little bit. So with overdrives, here's the regular humbucker. Nice, big, thick, fat, you know. Now let's put that in push-pull. Kind of thins it out, right? More of that tone. And it's really good for the AC/DC isms. Even though he uses regular humbucker, I set my tones so dark and like rich and full-bodied that sometimes I like to just pull the push-pull out to have the flexibility to thin it out, you know, shave down some of that bottom end. Yeah, so when you're talking, Francisco, about the flexibility of tone in the guitar, you know, it's all about that. It's all about that thing where I'm trying to get as much as I can out of the guitar itself without having to have more stuff. You know what I mean? I try to let the guitar and a good overdrive do the work for me, do the heavy lifting. And to tie this into, I think it was Craig's question about why I would use the Fractal. It's for effects horsepower, right? You know, I don't need an Eventide. You know, I think that the Fractal stuff is on par with all that. I think it sounds great. I mean, I think Fractal's delays and reverbs, they sound like freaking IMAX. You know what I mean? They sound like that. So, yeah, that's usually what dictates if I'm going to use the Axe-Fx or not. Or if I'm seeking some really random tone that's like, you know, an old Supro with a 10-inch speaker kind of tone. I'm going to get into the Axe-Fx for that because I don't have one. You know, it gets into like, what do you have and what do you not have? So, yeah. Yeah, let's keep going. More questions. Do I have any guitars that I played in the past that you wish I had right now? You know, I owned one of the purple Eddie Van Halen guitars that Ernie Ball did, the Music Man, you know, during the Unlawful Carnal Knowledge era. Loved that guitar. Sold it because I hated Floyd's and I was broke and I was trying to assemble gear for my voice, right? And so I think I actually sold that to fund my first Sir purchase. I think that was related. So yeah, let's keep going. I got to slide back down, man. You guys are killing it, and the chat is rolling. So I gotta keep scrolling down. Okay, cool. So Ron says the Ultra is more aggressive than the I don't really understand this, but I'm going to say it. The Ultra is more aggressive than the ODS sound-wise. It barks and growls and purrs. Yes, on the Axe-Fx. Okay, let's just do it. Let's roll through. So jumping back in, the cool thing about my setup is I've got both of them ready to go. So I'm going to scroll through some of my favorite Axe-Fx presets right now. I have some good news for you, you crazy kids. That are interested in this type of thing. We're going to be selling these online, and I'm stoked about it. The Axe-Fx presets will be on my website, andywoodmusic.com, and we're working out the tax thing. So technically, I could turn it on, but only for certain states, right? And taxes in other states are still being worked out. So just bear with me. I want to turn everything on it at once, right? So Axe-Fx presets are available on andywoodmusic.com, and as we get the final couple of states in order with the taxation, we're just going to hit a button and turn them all on at the same time. That keeps me from having to chase down, you know, well, you're in New York and they've got different taxes than wherever. You know, it's all sales tax type of stuff. So let's dig through some of my favorite presets on the Axe-Fx. This first one, I'm going to start with the 50 watt Marshall. One of the things that I like to do, and you'll get this in your bundle, and I upload these to my Patreon. I'm sorry, I'm trying to give you guys as much information as I can. On my Patreon, which is patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic, there are 2 tiers that enable you to get my backing tracks and Axe-Fx patches. And if you join up for those tiers, you simply, if the patch or the backing track isn't posted, you just message me and say, hey, can I have this patch or that patch? My first one here is a 50 watt Marshall. I think it sounds super rad. One of the things that I do with all of my Axe-Fx patches is I like to put a parametric EQ in case I'm playing a really bright PA or I have really bright monitors. Here's without the parametric. And then with the parametric EQ on, it's a little more polite. It's a little less snotty, you know. But I love it. I love this. That's like the snottier one and the sassier one, and then with the para EQ on. Let's go to one of my other secrets is I like to use a comp as a boost. So now I'm going to turn the comp on. Cool. So that's like the 50 watt Marshall. And man, it's really, really a cool one. Let's just roll through the presets. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. Here's a Bogner Shiva that I've built. It sounds really awesome. And the Smoke Wagon preset. Now, typically I would use this preset with single coils, okay? It's more for that chicken picking thing. I can get caught up and just start playing. I apologize. So this next one is like one that I built to kind of be, I don't know, you can tell instantly. It's really like touch sensitive, which I like. I love it on the neck pickup. And then as we roll through, here's one that's built to be like Derek Trucksy. And then with the parametric EQ off. Right? And then I've got my faux Eric Johnson thing. So it's obviously that thing. All right. And then kind of self-explanatory. And then this one's really cool. It's like super drenched kind of Herbert. And then if I turn the parametric EQ off of that. Right, and then pretend to be Ben Eller. And then this is a really cool one that's like lush. It's also very sorry. Kind of forgot that song. Keep going on. This is like a dumble kind of on stage. And then Silver Jubilee. Like obviously that tone, you know. And then what else have I got? I've got this Division. This is like a divided by 13. So, last one. Really nice for strumming stuff. Yeah, cool. So that's kind of like all of my presets that I like that I've got built at this moment. There are obvious presets that I have that are built for episodes of the Woodshed. You know what I mean? But what I just went through was like the main meat and potatoes of my Axe-Fx settings. All right, back to the mega chat. Let's see what we got. Is my what? What does he say right here? I'm looking through the chat here. Man, thank you guys all for chiming in and hanging out with me, and getting in here and talking a little tone. We got some people talking about some Dumbles and some EJ stuff, which is awesome. I love me some EJ. Danny says, "Hi Andy, I'm loving the videos. Will there be a rig rundown of my favorite pedals and amps use on my main pedal board anytime?" Sure, I can do that. I could put that. Maybe we'll put that together for next week's Woodshed, just like a rig walk down. Let's see. Do I have any musical influences besides guitars? Actually, yeah, most of my musical influences are like bluegrass instrumentalists, guys that play banjo or dobro or fiddle. Like I listen to a lot of Bela Fleck. I listen to, Jerry Douglas. I listen to mandolin players. Man, Chris Thile, Sam Bush. I'm all about that. So Allman Brothers tone out of my Sir. I don't know. I think a lot of the Allman Brothers thing comes from how you play the guitar, right? Let's use an example. Talking about the brothers. I love it. So just a vanilla delay going on. Right. So if I play one way, a little more delay. Now I'm not going to change anything. I'm literally not going to change anything, and I'm going to go for more Allman Brothers-esque. Right, so you can see that the style of playing, I literally didn't even change pickups or anything. The style really dictates the tone. I'm not going to change anything on the guitar. That's the same tone that was just doing. So for the brothers thing, Jeff, it's really more about how you're playing than anything. I mean, that's what it's all about. Where in the chain is the EQ? That sounds great. I want to try it. So Steve, you're talking about the Axe-Fx thing. Steve, I like to put the EQ after the cabinet block. The reason is I like to shave my low end in the cabinet block. There's a knob on there that controls the shelf, like in the frequency range for how much low cut in the cabinet block. And I only use the parametric EQ to control the top end, and I just shelf the top end. So I like it after the cabinet block. So definitely try that out. It's going to really, really work. I think it's going to work nicely for you. So I lost my spot again, which is great. Okay. Thank you for the kind words, Supernatural. Crispy high fives to you for the tone and so Johnny Chromatic. Just tuned in. What software are you working on? Johnny and I played Sebastian Bach together. I'm working in Logic right now. Johnny, hope you're well. Crisp high fives. Axe-Fx in the loop, or is this 4 cable? Adam, neither. The Axe-Fx is running into Logic in its own channel. The Bella is in. The Axe-Fx is going into a Focusrite into Logic. The Bella is going, my guitar, my pedal board, my Bella going into Focusrite into Logic. So neither. The Axe-Fx is not in the amp at all right now. It's standalone. Sure thing. I'll angle the camera more. I'm actually going to get a new camera, and we're going to change the angle altogether. So just hang loose for another episode or two, and then we'll be switching some camera angles up. So stay with me on that. Stay tuned. We're about to break 100 viewers. Boom, did it. Crisp high fives. What's the one thing that I learned, changed my playing, proved it the most? Just listening to a lot of different styles of music, being my own worst critic, holding myself accountable and not comparing myself to others. The internet can be a dark place where people just hate and troll nonstop. I think the things that helped my playing was just focusing on me and the sound that I wanted to make. And that's when I really started dialing in my sound, and my writing got better, and all of that kind of good stuff started taking shape. All right. No Fender should have rosewood, all maple. Well, I have a telly that's got a rosewood neck. An old Fender is my very first telly. It's before I knew anything about maple or rosewood, and it sounds great. I love it. In general, though, I do agree. I love maple. Rosewood is awesome. Yeah, I like maple, but that's why I use it now. So, yeah, Alex, that was the Axe-Fx. I'm back on the Bella now. Why is maple better? It's not better. Rosewood isn't better. Maple's not better. Ebony's not better. What's the sound in your head? And play all the guitars that have those options, right? You tell yourself which one's better. Okay, that's the thing. We get caught up in like validating our tonal preferences by what others say, and I'm not. I don't know if I back that. A lot of times I'm just, when I'm making my tone, I'm trying to get what I think sounds good. Recording yourself and hearing it in playback will really help your perception of your tone, because what will happen a lot of times is you'll set a tone that feels really good to play and it doesn't really sound good. A lot of times the tones that sound really great are not really fun to play on. Like I've become, I don't want to say like beer drinking buddies with Joe Bonamassa, but like we're buddies, and I've come to a couple of his shows and hung out with him at Soundcheck and stuff. And when he was getting ready for tour in Nashville, he invited me over and I played his Dumbles and his high-powered twins, and man, they were awesome. They sounded great. You had to earn it. It was not given to you. I'd love to see some internet shredders get on Joe's rig and try to pull off the human tricks that they pull off. But man, the tone's so good. Anurag, I wish I could not butcher your name. Anurag, Anurag. 9s or 10s. These are 9s, 10s on a Gibson. 9s on a Fender. Kelly says, been using the 1 flat 3, 3, 5 flat 7. Love that woodshed. Yeah, buddy. Crispy high fives to you, my friend. So I lost my place again. I've got to figure out a way to get the chat not to scroll when I've got my hand on it. I need to figure that out. Next question. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for hanging out. Here's a great one. Andy, what was it like to play live on stage with Paul Gilbert? It was freaking awesome, terrifying and awesome, intimidating and awesome. On one side of me was Andy Timmons, the other side was Paul Gilbert, and it was the first time, that I'd been directly flanked by two Goliath players on stage at a show. I've done a lot of clinics, and that's a different environment, right? But man, on stage is so different. It was terrifying and awesome. So have I tried the Sir Reactive Load IR? Yes, I have. It's awesome. It's great. I love the way the amp feels on it. It's incredible. That said, there's software things that the aux does that I like that aren't available in other like IRs, right? An IR is kind of just like one singular impulse response that you can't edit on the fly in a device like an Axe-Fx or a Sir Reactive Load. In the UA aux, you can edit mic placement in the fly. You can edit everything in the fly, I love that software. That software is really, really, really good. The technology of the parts of the IR. In a perfect world, I would like the software of the UA aux paired up with a Sir Reactive Load. Like, that would be insane. Any chance, let's see, just got that. Andy, I'd love to see you shred some Dan Huff. Yeah, Dan, man, I'll give you the one lick that I know. One more time. Yeah, so there's my Dan Huff lick. I love it. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Love Giant, love what he did. Believe it or not, on Reba McEntire records, he sounded awesome on that stuff. Sounded awesome on the Shania Twain records. Supernatural says Fender is only better with rosewood. I don't know. That's like splitting hairs. It just depends on what you're after. I'm just rolling through the chat here. Digging the woodshed episodes. Picked up a Sir Modern to go along with PRS. Sir's just killer. Hey man, you're not gonna go wrong. Sir's gonna be in tune and it intonated great, and I just love them, man. It's the guitar that really, man, it's like an unfair advantage when you're playing something like that. Also, props to Bev and Rich up at PRS. Love those folks. Love Tom Anderson builds a great guitar too, man. You can't take anything off of him. The guys over at Collings build great guitars. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Here we go. Would I suggest starting kids out on mandolin when they're young, moving them to guitar? Aaron, this question, Aaron, I don't really know if I can be the right kind of answer for that. My family was really poor. we didn't ever hurt for anything. We weren't like starving. My dad was a cop. When I say we were poor, I meant that I couldn't afford diesels and Sirs and new Xboxes and stuff like that. I don't mean that I was starving. I want to rephrase my sentence. But we didn't have a ton of extra income. And the mandolin that was at my grandparents' house was just an Alvarez. That's what my granddad already had. I played it because it fit. There was no such thing at my granddad's house as a quarter scale guitar or something like that. None of that. So I played the instrument that fit, and I fell in love with it, and that's just what I played. And then when I got 14 or 15, started playing more flat top acoustic, started playing his Gibson and his Martin more often, and from there I went to electric. So I encourage young players, kids, to play what they like. I would definitely say expose them to mandolin. Let them feel that like it's not mandolin versus guitar versus banjo versus fiddle, and you got to pick the coolest one. I don't think that's a thing. Ron says, who makes the best fuzz? And why do they all sound like bee farts now? You got great ears if you can hear a bee fart. That's new to me. As far as fuzz, I'm gonna throw it up, dude. If you're looking for the Hendrix Octafuzz thing, there's your answer right there. GNI Octafuzz. I think that fuzz rules. Gosh, it's good. Another fuzz is the Kyber fuzz. It's really cool. It's kind of like not as nuts over the top. Mike Seal is in the chat. Guys, be sure to click on Mike Seal's channel. Subscribe to him. He is one of the most talented guitar players I've ever met in my life. Mike and I have had the pleasure to play on gigs together and, front porch pickings. And Mike plays with all kinds of really, really great players. He plays with Jerry Douglas. He plays with Sierra Hull. He's fabulous. He says, any advice for a player who has only ever used Fender tube amps and wants to try something different, but no experience outside of Fender combos? Mike, that's a very, very good question. A lot of times when we get started on Fender combos. I started on a PV Bandit, going back to the fact that we didn't have a ton of money. PV Bandit, baby. The Fender combo thing, or amps in that vein, right? You're talking deluxes, Blues Juniors. Don't sleep on a Blues Junior, guys. That's a $300 amp that you can swap the speaker out in, put a great 12. I think Fender in general these days is just they're kind of screwing the customer over on speakers. They put in crap speakers. I think that's why you see guys like Joe Bonamassa, their signature Fenders have Celestion Classic Lead 80s, or they've got this, or they've got great speakers in them. I think stock, production run-of-the-mill Fender amps have kind of crap speakers in them. So pro tip, get you a Blues Junior or two, change the speakers out, and now you're in stereo and it sounds righteous. Now, to answer Mike Seal, if you're wanting to expand into other realms of guitar tube amps and you don't know where to go, but you've played Fender tube amps and combos your whole life, the first thing I would suggest is getting a closed back cabinet, whether that be a 212 by somebody like Bogner, Sir. As you can see, I've got a Mesa closed back 212 back there. The 212 closed back, and run your favorite amp. Take the speaker out of your favorite amp and plug it into that. That's going to provide a different response. And at that point, you can decide if you want to go down the route of a closed back cabinet or an open back. Mike, for you, I know you're playing very well. You're very articulate and you have a lot of control and you're very clear and dynamic. I think you would really enjoy a closed back cabinet. My advice would be to check something out, and before you buy a tube head, get you a 212. I don't think you want to lug around a 412. I do because I'm stupid, but I love a 412. Get you a 212 that's closed back. Make sure that that's the thing, and try that out. Use whatever Fender amp you're using right now and put that on there. I think you're really going to like it. And then from there, you can start playing with other amps in that family. Like the Bella behind me is Fender-esque, but it's more like a Bassman. So it's got more headroom. It's got more punch, and it really is really good for articulate playing. The articulate thing is kind of a double-edged sword. The better you play, the better your tone is. You hit mistakes and everybody knows it. It's that kind of thing. So yeah, I definitely would look into that. Mike, I think personally, I think you would enjoy something around 50 watts for an amp on a closed back cabinet, 412 or 212. Some guys even run those little 112 Bogner closed back cabinets, and it's all about sealing that cabinet, right? So, yeah, great question, man. And, again, everyone go check out Mike Seal. If you're just tuning in, cheers, crispy high fives, and you like the content, go over to Andy Wood on Patreon, patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. If you want to throw some beer money at me, I will take it and gladly get maybe a 6-pack of Otra Vase. I'm on the sours these days. So, yeah, loving that. My dude Dan Smith is here. How do you dial in a good gain tone to sit in a mix? Wow. Great question. Holy mackerel, that's a great question. A lot of times, if you'll go back earlier in the stream, I flew by one sentence kind of haphazardly, and I said, we dial in a tone that feels good to us, and then once you're in a mix, you're toast. Have you guys ever been playing some music maybe with your buddies, or you're on a gig at a club gig, maybe it's a tight room and there's a lot of echoes and everything, and as soon as you get up there to sound check, your tone is rocking. You're like, dude, I sound awesome. The moment the bass player and the drums start, you're like, where is my tone? I need more volume. I need more volume. That's the issue, right? That's why the stereotype of guitar players turning up is a thing. And most likely what's happening is you're using too much gain, too much compression, and too much delay and reverb. Everything that makes the guitar feel good is what's going to make you not sit in a mix really well. Another thing that's going to make you not sit in a mix really well is a lot of low end. You get that thing to where it's nice and full and huge when you play by yourself, and it does not translate to the real world. My great friend Ben Eller, over the past couple of years, he always has come to me and ask me tone tips for live, and he's like, man, I just feel like when I play by myself, this, that, and the other. And now he's kind of at a point where he really gets it. Ben played, for the internet for years, and now he's, hundreds of shows in on playing live, and he gets it. Like, you cannot soak your tone because it sounds great when you're by yourself, and then you disappear the moment the band plays, right? My tips for that, Dan, are, back down everything that makes the guitar feel good. Back down the gain. As you back down the gain, add some compression if you want that thing to be soft and sound good. That's a Dan Huff trick. That's a Andy Timmons trick. I love it too, but back the gain down. That makes you disappear. Essentially, you're taking all the dynamic range in your guitar. Like, you ever look at a wave file and it's got all the spikes on it? The moment you start squeezing everything and gaining it and compressing it, it just turns into what I call the stick of butter, okay? That makes you disappear every time there's a cymbal hit, whether it be a crash or a hi-hat, you're gone. Every time the low end of the bass and the kick drum hit at the same time, your guitar disappears, right? So chasing live tone is really difficult. And a lot of these rules you'll see in mixes too. Go check out the isolated guitar tracks to Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue. You think, wow, that guitar is really small. When you hear it on the record, you're like, geez, that guitar sounds like Godzilla, right? Excuse me. The meat and that bigness of the guitar is coming from the mix itself. Trust your engineer. Trust your front of house guy. He's going to give top priority to that kick drum. I guarantee it. Every guy that mixes that I know will give top priority to the kick drum. And then they'll start carving things around it. So, yeah. The more sauced up your guitar is, the more verb and delay. Like, I don't even use verb. On my pedal board right now, let me just walk you through. I don't even have verb on. My live pedal board starts around here. And if I'm going to play the head to Truth and Lie, it's about that dry, okay? Now, instead of using reverb, I have a mix control on my expression pedal for my Strymon. So let's roll that in. So you can tell how dry I like to run things. And of course, when I'm playing by myself, it's cooler when there's a lot of delay on there. But in a mix, that makes your guitar disappear. One of the things that's really really good advice, I guess you could say, would be instead of using a reverb, use a dual delay. Right now I've got the Strymon set to where it's giving one delay at around 375 milliseconds and one at 500. And it's going da, 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 da. So check it out. That flutter, that's turning it into a faux reverb. Oh man, I suck today. So that's kind of how I'm using delay to fake that reverb thing, right? Great question, Dan. Jeez, great question. Eric Woolard. Cheers, Eric. Eric's another great player, great telly player. Have I ever tried any of the Two Notes stuff? He says he loves it. The Wall of Sound plugin and the Torpedo's killer load box. Man, I've not tried the Two Notes stuff. I can't get around to everything. I don't doubt it, man. Some of the videos you do, they sound great. But yeah, man, I find stuff that I like and I just kind of stick with it, man. Wampler Pinnacle, Wampler Prototype anytime soon. Yeah, we discussed that earlier. Brian's cooking on it, man. So yes, soon yeah. Is the Karate Kid really playing the guitar solo in that movie? Yeah, I think he is. That one, right? I forgot the next part. but that I used to know it. At once upon a time, I knew it. Can I talk more about free-flowing improvising through chord progressions? Yeah, let's make that another stream. Today, let's just roll with tone talk. I'm not blowing you off, but we are going to come back to that for sure. My mind is just in tone mode right now, and it's not in like playing an improvisation mode. As you can tell, I kind of suck today, but whatever. Yeah, Mike Seal is a very amazing guitarist. Let's check out what else we got in here. Other tone questions. Man, we have been doing this for an hour, and 130 folks have been in here. So much love to you. I always say it, but crispy high fives. When you all wind up in the same frequency. That's right, Kelly. That's right. Let's roll down and let's get a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna have to call it. I got to get some writing done. I got a student. If you guys again jump over to the Patreon. Much love to all my Patreon members helping me do things like this and stream for you guys. All right. Uncle Ben. Yeah, he is awesome. Yeah, so Tom Bukovac, homeschooling. Yeah, definitely check Tom's page. Says you can never have too much treble live. That's true, man. That top end, you want to hear it, you know. Seem to know tons of theory. Taylor, this is Taylor 315. Can you tell us how you learned all of it? Can I also play Tokyo? I haven't played Tokyo in forever. Maybe we put that in the next stream concert. I need to go back and relearn it. As far as theory, I'm always working on it. You know, a lot of my theory I learned at the University of Tennessee, and then I just kind of redneck hijacked from there. I got into a great theory conversation with a guy who was on my Danny Elfman video. Scope that. He was talking about, looking at if you're in the key of B minor and you move up a whole step and make that a major chord. That's actually, he's calling it a 5-5 chord, which is a secondary dominant. That gets into things that I've created shortcuts for. Like, I'm just going to be a guy that goes, yeah, man, that's a major too. Because as an improviser, it allows me to play over it easier, right? And that's what I'm looking for, is the quickest, easiest way to get something done. A lot of times when people talk modes, they say, you got to play the C major scale F to F to have Lydian. It's the fourth mode, blah, blah, blah. And it's just an endless amount of spewing of verbiage and grammar. I don't want to think about that stuff. So what I do is I find the workarounds, like when I think Lydian, I'm just like major scale with a raised fourth. Done. Boom. And then I can use that more freely as I want, and I'm not limited to have to do this algebra equation like when it comes to thinking of, Lydian dominant. I mean, it tells me the two things that I need. I need a raised fourth and a flat seven. Boom, done. I don't have to think about what degree of whatever mode. Like, that just makes my face hurt. I know there's an endless well of knowledge. I would probably be a better musician if I took more time to learn that stuff, but I want to get to playing the guitar and writing songs and improvising as quickly as possible. And I'm always looking for shorthand things to help my theory work at a more efficient rate. I think efficiency is the right word. So, yeah, cheers. Is my trim full floating? It sure does. No, it floats. Check it out. Yeah. Do all that kind of stuff with it. I think it's funny how Andy's worst day is better than my entire... Man, that's not true, dude. That's not true. I think everyone's got the potential to take their playing as far as you want to take it. We build our barriers in our mind. I know that sounds like hippie crap, but it's not. I feel like if you want to be a better player, it's easy to do, man. You sit there, you play the guitar, you focus practice. Let's talk about one of my... I always like to end my episodes with something really, really... in my heart, okay? This is becoming a little bit of a tradition here for these woodshed live streams, where we're approaching the witching hour and we're wrapping up the set here. Man, I'm gonna start always ending something that ending with something that really matters and strikes a chord to me. And it looks like my man LL Cool J has said something that strikes a chord with me. He says he thinks it's funny how my Andy Wood worst day is better than his entire potential. I don't agree with that at all, my man. It's what I think's happening. It's what I think happens to a lot of players. It happens to myself. It happens to me. It's happening to you probably, where you are sitting and regurgitating the things that you just can just do, right? You put your hands down before you focus. I think a lot of guys will sit and work on an alternate picking exercise for 2.5, 3 hours every day, same exercise, and they feel like they never get better. Well, it's because you're not focusing, right? You're not focusing on what your issues are. I think 45 minutes a day of focus practice is worth more than 3 hours a day of just blasting through the same exercise like it's a Hail Mary. If I want to work on picking, I'm going to come up with something musical. What chord? E. Right? I love that right there. That major 7's getting good to me. So now I'm going to dry out the tone, and I'm going to work on my picking by making a musical sound. Not an exercise. I'm going to go... let's do this. That's my melody line. You guys stay with me here, okay? I'm teaching you how I practice. This is my melody line. I just wrote it for you. We're in the key of E. My goal is to get better at picking. So why do I need a melody line? Because you got to practice making music. You don't practice making exercises. All right, 3-string cross picking. That's what I got to work on today. So now I'm going to play that melody, but I'm going to add those cross-picking things. Now I'm going to play an A string. And I would start speeding that up. And so the point of what I'm doing is to show you guys that when you work on something, when you practice something, you got to make it musical. You got to have a musical reasoning, right? You got to have something deeper, right, than just exercise. I never worked on my picking by going, Andy said to do this exact exercise. And just sit there for an hour doing that. Like, that's not going to get you there. You know what I mean? What you got to have is you got to have that musicality. And if you're just brand new to the guitar and you don't know what any of the frets are, that's okay. You can put your fingers down and find something. You got to experiment, right? And then you say, okay, so that sounds good. That sounds good. So now I got 3 notes here. And what if you can't pick it at that speed, right? And you're just working on it like this. And you know it needs to go somewhere else. You're working on your musicality, not just your technique. So you could see how I would sit here and just practice and practice and practice on trying to become more musical, even though my focus of my practice was on my picking. I am at no point segregating technique practice from musicality practice. I'm not separating compositional ideas from technical practice. I'm trying to blend it all together. That's not something that happens when you become an advanced player. That's something you work on from the beginning. I learned to do that stuff by playing fiddle tunes, and fiddle tunes, how I learned how to get so good at alternate picking. Yeah, I mean, I just blew it right there, right? And it doesn't matter which fiddle tune, right? So I'm trying to think in a musicality standpoint, not a technique standpoint. You can hear the difference if I play it like a robot. That technically is correct, but it doesn't sound good. Check it out. This would be how to practice musicality. Using dynamics and rhythm to help your technique practice, right? If I'm going to work on the blues, right? Gonna do some bluesy, right? Change the vibe of that. You could tell the only thing I'm working on is this. All of that standard stuff, right? But I'm trying to play it musically. I'm practicing music versus practicing technique and where to put your fingers. No matter what you do, you got to keep that at the forefront, right? So, yeah, there's a great comment right here. Chris says, "Sweet Child Mine started / finger exercise." Yeah, it's great. Guys, focus practice. Love it. Love it. Live it. We're kind of falling in a rabbit hole of another episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Tone Talk from the Woodshed. Crispy high fives to each and every one of you. I hope that I got to your questions. I hope this inspires you all to go get your guitars and go play. I get done doing this, I always feel like I've got to go practice. I feel like I've still got so much to work on, and not playing at my top potential, not playing when I want to. But I'm trying, and I think that's where where that search and that endless climb is. So let's tune in again. Do you think we could do these a couple times a week? We got 130 people today. That's awesome. So crispy high fives. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to hear my music, jump to Spotify, look up my tunes, songs, albums, things like that. If you want a little more personal, one-on-one type of vibe, jump over to Patreon. That's patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. If you're looking for specific tuitional things, TrueFire, Jam Track Central, Jam Play, all that kind of stuff, jump to AndyWoodMusic.com. Love you guys, man. Thanks for an awesome stream today, and a great chat, man. Cheers to you guys, and we'll see you real soon. All right.